that the right way up or is that the wrong way up? Oh, who knows? Let's just adjust that. Back to front. Hey. I think that's right now. Oh my goodness, that was a mess. Right, just trying to get my craft desk. Sometimes it just doesn't seem to work. Who knows? But yes, hopefully I am live. Hopefully you can see me. And if I just make sure my chat is up, if you're watching this, please do let me know you're there and see what you're actually up to. So I've got a few things to show you today. It's actually, the first thing to say is that it is the blog hub day. I'm joined with a Tech for Stampers. That's my sort of group. It's where I get all my technical help for doing websites and things, because I really couldn't do it myself. I need that technical help. So I get that help from the Tech for Stampers people with Louise Sims. If anybody is a demonstrator and wants help with a website and technical issues, then it really is worth joining that group. She's got a wonderful academy with loads and loads of stuff in that you can learn a lot from, and she'll help you with it. But we do a blog hop with the group, and today it is the blog hop day, which means that at 6 o'clock tonight, we are going to be sharing our makes. So if you go to can't even say my own website today, craftycarolscards.co.uk, and you'll see the card I've made, and I'm going to give you a sneak peek in a minute. And you can also there find the links to join with other people and see what they've actually done, see their beautiful makes. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek for this card. This is a sneak peek because, as I say, it won't be actually out on the blog until tonight, but thought I'd show you because it is made with the glorious, let me just get the desk as the main thing instead of you seeing me. I'll just stay in the corner. It's much better to see me in the corner. Right, let's just, no, that makes it worse. There we go. It's about straight, isn't it? Don't like it when it's not straight. Offends me. Right. But it uses this glorious translucent florals stamp set, which I absolutely adore. It's got these beautiful, beautiful Inkstinctive is what they call them, Inkstinctive stamps, which they stamp with this actual gradient, I suppose you'd say, with the ink when you actually ink the stamp. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. And then there's lots of lovely sentiments, and really, I like this really straightforward type of font. If I bring it a bit closer, you can see that. So yeah, congratulations, you're the best. Happy birthday. Wishing you all the happiness in the world. I don't know why I'm reading it on the screen when I could read it on this. Honestly, sometimes I worry about myself. Right. So anyway, that is the stamp set. And I made this, what I call it's a cutaway card. So all of the details on making the card are in the, will be in the blog this evening. But I wanted to show you the card and just to show you how those things stamp. So you can see here, I've stamped the leaves several times just on basic white, and then I've cut them out because this set does come with the dies, there we go, that cut out all of these lovely stamps. It's also got some extra flower dies, which is rather nice. They make some beautiful flowers, which I made in a previous live. I think you saw them in the previous live. Certainly it's in a previous blog on the website. I used those dies to make some flowers, but this time I just stamped the leaves, cut them out, die cut them out, stamped the two flowers, the two different flowers here. And you can see what I mean by the Inkstinctive, which is that I've used I can't remember what colour I used. I think it's real red. Might not be. Might be Poppy Parade. Anyway, whatever. I think it was Poppy Parade, actually. Anyway, whatever. You can see it's got gives the sort of outline of the stamp, just like you see on here in the darker colour, and then the inside comes out as a lighter colour. It's absolutely beautiful. I think they're gorgeous stamps. So I stamped both of those flowers and die cut those out, stamped the leaves 3 times and cut those out. And then I used the stem stamp and the 2 leaves to stamp directly onto the card. And I also stamped this frond, I don't know what you call it, this sort of frond, and I've stamped that a few times as a background. And then I've stuck the flowers on with dimensionals. I stuck the leaves over one another so they made a line up the card, and then I just fussy cut around the leaves. So you can see that there where I fussy cut it. So it's a lovely shaped card. And then I used a little strip of basic white that I embossed with one of the basic embossing folders in the back, stamped You're the Best in there, and again used the fronds as a sort of inside decoration. So that is the card tonight. I actually used Happy Birthday as well, and I stuck that on the front with dimensionals. So that is my card. Decorated the envelope too. Remember, we do not like naked envelopes, so we've got the 2 fronds stamped there as well. So that is my card, and I've lost my bag for it. There we go. That is my card that's coming out in the blog tonight. So if you get a chance, do have a look at that and have a think about this glorious translucent floral set, because it really is absolutely glorious. Right, my main purpose for today for my lives is that, exciting news, I'm off to Rotterdam, and it's for On Stage. And On Stage is the annual event that Stampin' Up run for demonstrators. So there'll be demonstrators from, let me just put me on while I'm talking. You don't need to see an empty craft desk, do you? So we'll meet up with demonstrators, fellow demonstrators from across the whole of Europe, from France, Belgium, Holland, Germany, where else? UK and Ireland, obviously. Austria, that's the other one, yes. I'm trying to remember the countries where Stampin' Up is. So people from all of those will be coming to Rotterdam, and we all meet up with On Stage. We may well have some people from America as well. Obviously, the Stampin' Up staff are mainly from America. And also there is a market in Australia and New Zealand. And last year we did have a few from Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, they can come from all over the world to this wonderful On Stage event. And the really good news is that I get to see the new catalogue that's due out at the end of April, beginning of May, the next annual catalogue. So it's for year 2024 to 25. We'll find out what the new in colours are, and we'll find out what the gorgeous new products are. I also get a chance to play with one of those products. We had the chance to buy something in advance, and we will be using that in craft sessions during the event. So if you are a demonstrator, it really is worth coming. It's just brilliant fun. Anyway, as part of these events, and I will tell you all about the event next week, as much as I can anyway, as part of these events, we actually do something called swaps. Most of us will take certain things. This is one of my swaps I'm going to show you how to make. And there's my other one here in this box. So you can see I made a lot. There's my box full. Let me just swap that up so you can see my desk again. There we go. So there's my box full of swaps. So I've got, there's 2 layers in there, so there's plenty of those. And I've also done a second swap, which is this set. So, and these ones, these smaller ones, these are, you can see the end of the box. It's a fold over box. I shall show you it in just a minute. Because I want to show you how I came up with the idea for it. Very simple to make. I'm going to show you how to make those, and put them in there. And those contain little mini eggs, and these ones contain Biscoff biscuits. So nice little treats for people. And so I go along with these, and people can choose their colour and take one of the swaps, and then in return I get one of their swaps, which means that I come home with loads and loads of ideas for future projects. And in fact, let's put that away for a minute. That's how I came up with the idea for the project. So I'll just show you my thought processes. These are all boxes that I've had from previous events that I've been to. So I always keep them. I don't always keep what's in them, because if there's chocolate and things, I eat it. But I always keep them. So this one was one from a Christmas one, and this contained matches. I thought this was a lovely idea. So that was one thing I thought, oh, I could do those as a swap. these are all swaps that I received. So that was one. I had a go at making a couple. I'll show you those in a minute just to play with. This was another one. This box is just a fold out box. Rather nice. Look at that. It's got a little candle in it, which I haven't actually used yet. But this doesn't have any glue. It just simply folds together and then the top fits in. So that was another thought. I should certainly be making some of those because I think, you know, it's a lovely idea for a little box. So I like those. Decided against that one. Here's another type of box, just a simple, straightforward box. This had, I think it had, I can't remember what was in here, probably chocolates. And people leave their details so that we know where they're from, and you can go back to the websites and see what was made. But this is one of the French ones, Juste pour toi. These were German ones, so we from countries all over, and obviously other British ones. But the box side, this was one of my boxes, by the way. I've done that as a swap before, so that was a possibility. I might make one of those again. That's really simple, just made out of one sheet of 6x6 DSP. Quite like doing swaps that use up my DSP, to be honest. So this was one of the swaps I got. And this was lovely. This was an old set, although we have got a new set of cows in the current mini catalogue, I think. But she'd made this for the belly band, and this was the box, and it intrigued me because of the folds at the side. So it has a front flap and opens just like that. So it's actually a base, which is a fairly ordinary rectangular box, but it folds over like that. And I thought that was really, really cute. So she'd left, this was what was in it, because I'll put it back in there, I think. She'd left the instructions here. So I've got the outline as to how you put the box together. So this was all drawn inside. This is Sabrine Bauman. Thank you, Sabine, because that was really helpful. So I just adopted it for mine because I didn't need something to be quite as big. So I'm going to put that in there so that I have it in there for if I do ever want to make this box again. As I say, I keep all of these because it gives me ideas for the future. So that was my idea. So I had a play around, and first of all, I made one the same size. So this is out of the Most Adored DSP that's just obviously been in the mini catalogue. So I made that one, and I thought, I could do that, and that would use up some of my Most Adored DSP. And I thought, yes, I'll use flowers. I'll tell you about how I made those in a minute, and just put a little thank you note on it. So that was my prototype, if you like. And I also had a go at making little boxes in another way, because I wanted to use a couple of eggs in each box, a couple of little mini eggs. So I made this one, but actually that was really quite fiddly with all these little tiny little flaps to cut. So I decided against that. I made them in various different ways, but I decided no matter how big I made them, they were a little bit fiddly to make. So I've gone off those, but I've kept those as ideas for the future. So that was my prototypes, and I ended up with the one I've just shown you. So if I get my bits, I'll show you how we make it. So this was my insert. I've printed out and made my little insert that tells people where they can find the full instructions, gives them a little picture of how I made up the box. A bit tiny to see, but there we go. Called it a mini egg folded box, and that's how we do it. So I've already got my bits here. I stamped out literally a couple of, I think just over 100 of these. I just used all my old strips of just bits of basic white that I have lying around. I always keep a little box of all my bits of basic white. So I used a lot of the thin strips I had and just stamped thank you about a zillion times and cut them all out. The flower, now I used for that, there's a bit of DSP stuck down in the punch, which isn't a good thing. I must try and get it out. There we go. Let's get rid of that. There. Bits of stuff lying around. There we go. So I've used the Petal Park punch. This is, as you can see, it's got the 3 different flowers and a leaf on it. So I've used the 2 smallest flowers and I've stamped them out of DSP and then reversed the DSP on one so they look slightly different. So that was how I made the flowers. And actually there's still quite a lot of, I went slightly mad with this particular colour. Because I decided for these, I would actually make them in the current in colours because they will vanish at the end of, this must all have fallen out the punch. Just get rid of it. They will go at the end of this month, which is very sad because I shall miss some of these colours. I rather like them. So I just used some of the old DSP I had of these in colours, and I just punched those out and made them into flowers. So I've still got loads of flowers there I can use for another project. But I've decided for this one I'm using the Parakeet Party, and just a strip of DSP that's coordinating. It doesn't need to be exact. I need the mat in a minute, so I'll show you. So let me just put things on top of my, that's really stupid. Right, okay. So to make this particular box, the piece of card, it doesn't use that much cardstock. I've still got quite a bit of cardstock left, but it just works for these particular mini eggs. So you want a piece of cardstock that is 9.5 centimeters by 9.5 centimeters, which is 3 3/4 inches on both sides. And so I've already cut this, as you can see, it's 9.5. And very, very simply, we're going to score at 2 centimeters each side, or if you're working in imperial, it's 3/4 of an inch. So 2 centimeters each side on this 9.5 by 9.5, 3.5 by 3.5 inches, scoring at 3/4 of an inch on each side. Let me get that right. So on one side, you're going to score at 2 inches on each side, and on the other side, square, so it doesn't matter which one, we're going to score at 2. And if I'm doing this, I always start on the right-hand side of my trimmer because it's a lot easier to make sure I'm exact there than try and do it 2 this way, although if you're cleverer than me, you can. So you want to score this other side at 2 centimeters. It's very simple, this. At 4 centimeters, at 6 centimeters, and at 8 centimeters. Just make sure that's lined up properly. There we go. So there we have the piece of card. Now, if you're doing this in imperial, so it's 3.5, and you score it at about, it's actually yes, it's 3/4 of an inch on both sides, and then you would score it at 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 2 1/4 inches, and 3 inches. So that gives you this. Hopefully you can see there the score lines. I'll actually fold it so you can see them a bit better. That might help, because we have to do a couple more score lines on this and do some cutting. So I shall show you that in a minute. But if I fold this, you'll probably be able to see the score lines better. So I'll just fold this first. And the last one there. Okay, does that help you to see the score lines? So you've got one each side, and then these ones here, 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch for each of those, if you're doing it yourself. So then we've got the cutting, and the cutting is quite important. If you notice, we've got 4 panels which are the same size, each of 2 centimeters, and this last panel is slightly smaller. It's only 1.5 centimeters or 1/2 inch. So this is the panel which is going to form the flap at the front of the box. And we're going to have to cut it. So you can either, now I round the corners and I do it freehand. You can, if you want, just cut straight here and then use a corner rounder, but I find it's easier just to do it by hand. You're just going to round that corner very slightly, cut all the way up to this next, the 2 lines down if you like. So you're cutting down one whole panel on this part panel. And then I'm just going to trim this. It doesn't need to be totally exact, just to leave a bit of a flap that we're going to form into the box. So these are the tabs. So I'm just going to miter that a little bit by cutting 2 pieces off. So that's our first side done, and we do the second side in exactly the same way. So either round the corner freehand like me, or you can use a corner rounder. Chop it off so you leave yourself a bit of a tab, and cut those bits off there. So I'll put these in the bin in a minute. So that's the first thing. Then we go to the other end, and we're going to cut a tab in the same way with these spare squares here. So you've got a little square at the end here, and that's the one we're going to cut. So again, I'm going to trim down that first score line, cut across, and then just miter the tabs. Get that little miter cut out. It doesn't want to fall out. They never do when you're doing something live. It's always a fiddly. Right, there we go. There's the first. So we do the second in the same way. So cutting down, trim across, and then dead simple, just cut that out. So that is our basic cutting. But before we put the box together, we have some more scoring to do. So I use my silicone mat, and I'm using my stylus from my, what do you call it? The thing that you use to do to do lines on things. Oh dear me, scoreboard. Couldn't think of the name then. Right, I'm just going to use. You just need a straight edge, so a ruler or whatever. I'm just using my my bone folder because it's easier. I'm using the smaller end. There's two ends on this, so you've got the smaller end, the slightly wider end. I'm using the smaller one on the stylus, and we're going from the center. So we've got our two tabs either side, and then two big squares in the middle of each side. And I'm going from the center out to the top of that square. So I'm doing can you see that okay? So I'm doing a score line across there, and then one the other side the same way. So I'm forming a V shape. Yeah. Hopefully you can see that. You'll see it better. Get into focus thing. There we go. Hopefully you can see those V's. And we're doing that on both sides. I'm going to turn it around here, and we do it on this side as well. So across there and up to the other corner, because that is going to form the bit in the box that looks like that at the end. Okay, it forms these inserts. So now the folding. I've already done the folding of the main bits. I need to fold these in as well. So I'm going to fold one in like that, and then if I bring the other one over and squish at the same time, I can fold the second one in and then give it a squeeze. So I folded the box in half, if you like, and push this bit in. So I find it works best to fold one in, fold the other out, and then fold it back as you fold this in half. So I hope that makes some sense. I've folded it down that way, but do it really slowly. I've brought it across to the corner, the center to the corner, put the other corner together, folded my box in half down the existing score line, and just squeezed. And that gives me my nice folds for the insert. Then it's very simple to put together. We're just going to use some Stamp and Seal. Well, this isn't Stamp and Seal, it's a different model because I'm trying to use up what I've got. I need to buy some more Stamp and Seal. This isn't as good because it doesn't always run very well. Come on. Don't tell me you've run out just as I'm about to use you. There we go. So I'm just putting some Stamp and Seal equivalent on those. And then the key is to be really careful to make sure that you've lined up the corners, just as with making any box. It's lining up the corners that's the key. So line up the corners like that. I line up the corner and then squish the tab against the piece. So line up the corner first, and then use your thumb or a finger to press the tab in. So that's the box put together. So you can see the bottom of it now looks like an ordinary box, just with the pushed in sides. So then when you squeeze the sides, that forms the box. Isn't it cute? I think these are just beautiful. They're such nice boxes. So what I have to do is, there's my instructions, which I'm going to put in so that anybody who gets this as a swap can find the instructions and knows where to find this video and the blog post. And these will be out. So there's my little mini eggs, 2 little chocolate eggs, and they just fit in there beautifully. And then the box closes around them, and there we have the box. So really simple box, and just a very beautiful box. So to finish it off, all I needed was a little strip of DSP, and that is, I forgot to write this down, so let me measure it. So it's 3 centimeters by 9.5. So 3 by 9.5 centimeter strip of DSP, and I can just put a little bit of tape across the bottom of that, and then I'm going to wrap it around the box. And the way I do it to make it fit nicely but still come off is I start off with it on the bottom of the box, wrap it round over the front of the box, round the back of the box, and then making sure it's nice and straight, I can just bring it together without pulling too hard, and that then will allow the belly band just to slide and come off when the recipient wants to actually move it. It's now got stuck at the end. There we go, move it back a bit. So that is my box. There's my front. So this is my top, and all I'm going to do is stick my thank you on, and remembering just to put some glue or tape on just one end of it, because you don't want to stick it to the box, you only want to stick it to the belly band. And then my flower, which is my 2 pieces of DSP stuck together, I'm going to shape it by just shoving my knuckle in the middle of my palm. That really works very well to shape a flower. Put a little bit of glue on there, and then I can stick my flower on the side of the belly band. So these things are just stuck to the belly band, they're not stuck to the box. And I'm going to finish it off with a little gem. This is just one of the ordinary little iridescent gems. I actually was using pearls on most of them, but I've run out of pearls. I need to order some more because I've made so many of these boxes. So there we have it, and that can be added to the rest of my boxes that I'm taking. So here they are, all my boxes, my swaps. So hopefully that could be plenty of them to share with other people. So I can close my box there. And those stick out a bit because I had to cut the ends off, because when I put them in this box, I didn't fit the end. This is the box the eggs came in, actually, so it just fits nicely to actually have my swaps in. So that was my first swap, my Rotterdam swap number 1. So that's on the website. It will be published tomorrow, so you'll see that swap tomorrow, and then you're going to see my next swap the following day. And my second swap is my Biscoff biscuit box. So here is my Biscoff biscuit box, and it contains 2 Biscoff biscuits made in much the same way. You can see the belly band idea is exactly the same, but this is just a simple box. There's nothing terribly special about it. But again, I bought loads of Biscoff biscuits, and it seemed a nice opportunity to give those away, and it uses up some of my DSP. So I've used here the DSP. This is the softly stippled DSP, I think. It's one of the ones anyway that's now retired because it was in the catalogue. So for this particular one, and this fits 2 Biscoff biscuits, so I actually measured and made the box in a way that you'll see in a previous blog if you go on my website about how to make a custom size box. So I measured the biscuits in all their 3 directions to get my size. And to make this box, you need a piece of DSP, which is 11 by 13 centimetres. So I've already cut that. Let's bring this back in again so you can see what I'm doing with it. And so you're going to score this again. And on the short side, it's exactly this. Oh, what is it in inches? Hang on, I didn't actually tell you that. It is, well, it's slightly awkward inch measurements. It's 4 3/8 by just over 5 inches, 5 1/8. So you can measure it against your own biscuits. They may be slightly different in a different country anyway. So I'm only going to give centimetre measurements for this because it fits our biscuits that we can get in this country, in the UK. So we're going to score this at 2 centimetres on each side. On the short side, so this is the short side, obviously the smaller side. On the longer side, we're going to score at 2 again. So as always, I tend to start on the right-hand side of my trimmer and score the 2 because it's easier, I think. You're not worrying about it not staying straight because you're coming off the end here. So then when you've done 2, I turn it round. So I've done my 2. And then I'm going to move it up to 6. So that's my next score line. Ooh, make sure it's actually on 6. There we go. Then 8. And then 12. So this is a simple tuck-in box. Hasn't got the awkward folds in the sides like the others had. So to shape this one, you've got, again, if you can see these, let me just fold the score lines and then you can see them better. It's DSP, so I don't. Ooh, be careful! Look what I've done there. I might have to put some tape on that because I've scored it, and it is only DSP, and I've scored it far too heavily. That's not good at all. So we're going to put some tape down on that because I need that to be. There we go. Oh dear, quick mend. Be careful when you're scoring DSP. Do not score it too hard. Right, so let me just fold the rest of these folds. There we go. So yeah, little tip there. Don't do what I've just done. Don't score it too much. So to make the box itself, this time, I'm going to just angle the front. This is the front tab, which tucks in. So I'm going to angle that across. And this is the side tab that also tucks in. So I'm going to angle that one too. So I'm cutting out a piece at the top here that looks like that. Then this next one, the tab that tucks in and the tab that sticks the box. So this tab needs to be angled on this side. So both those are angled. So I take out a whole triangle like that. But on this one, I need to cut straight along this score line and then angle it just on this side. So this is straight and then angled like that to form the tab. Then we need the back tab in the same way. So cut and then angled. And we repeat that on the other side. So this is my back tab. I'm doing it in reverse now. So my back tab there and angled. This tab straight up that one, then form the tab here by cutting in this side. I need this one angled too, so I take out a whole triangle there, and then on this one, angle to the front, and then just take off the front bit angled like that. So that is the cutting for this particular box. Ooh. So again, very simple. Put it together in very much the same way as before. So I'm going to fold these in. Add some of this flipping annoying tape because it's not going very well. I really must put an order in because I need more. It doesn't want to come out at all, this one. I need more pearls. I've run out of pearls. I have to use glue on this as the tape. Oh, there, it's coming now. Thank goodness. I need more pearls, and I desperately need. I found I haven't got any soft saffron cardstock. I needed that for a project for next week, and I haven't got any of that. And what else do I need? Obviously, I need some stamping seal. So we're not doing terribly well today. This doesn't want to work at all. I don't know why. Come on, there we go. That's better. So I'm just putting a little bit of, making a big deal of putting some tape, some glue on each of those tabs. I could just use Tombow, of course, but it takes a longer time to stick then, so I don't really like to use that. And again, being careful to form it into a nice, not a nice exact angled corner. Okay, so this is my torn one. I'll be careful with that one. It has got the tape on now to hold it, but it's still not very good. Do be careful, don't do what I do. There we go. So form the box like that. So that's my box. And I've got my lid here, which is just going to slide inside so I can put my biscuits in. There's number one. And here's number two. And as before, I've got my instructions for where people can find it. This post will be coming out on Thursday. So you'll see that one then. I couldn't leave it till, normally I put my posts out on Friday, but obviously if I did that, people would have got my swaps because we'll be starting to do the swaps on Thursday. And then they wouldn't be able to see how to do it if they wanted to go straight on the website, although a lot of people would wait till they got home. So then I've just punched out of the same DSP that I'm using here, a larger flower and a smaller flower, using again my Petal Builder punch. So I've just done that small flower and, well, the medium-sized flower and the small flower from that, and I'm going to stick them together. I know they're not exact. One's got 5 petals and one's got 4. I don't think that matters. I think they still look okay. So a little bit of glue in the middle. Stick that on. There we go. And then I've got the belly band as before. Now I've got glue on my mat. It's a good job. These mats clean brilliantly, by the way. That's a great relief to me. So this strip, I didn't tell you how big this strip is actually. And it's 13.5, yes, 13.5 by 4. And that goes around this very nicely. If only I could get this to actually deposit some tape glue on there. There we go. So again, I'm going to start at the bottom of the box. I've turned the box over and put it on the bottom. Wrap it round just using your fingers and let it join without pulling it and putting any stress on it. And that then forms a belly band which is tight enough that will still slide off if necessary. Or when the person gets the box, they can then open it and be able to put it back together again. So then you can just, what I normally do is just to go around with my fingers on each of these corners and just, I don't know what that is, a little bit of glue or something, just to sort of form it round. So that is my belly band for it. And again, as before, I'm just going to stick on my thank you. And I'll shape my flower by putting it in my palm and using my finger. You can use, you know, an embossing tool or something like that, but I find my knuckle works just as well as anything else, to be absolutely honest. And then we'll put this just on the top there. And that is yet another one of these finished off with a little gem. And there we have it. There's my little Biscoff box. So I've got my Biscoff boxes, and I've got my, I lost them. I've put them away. My other little boxes that I'm going to use. And I really hope that the people that I meet at Rotterdam are going to love these things. So I hope you enjoyed those. Get the others out, and then we can see I've got some of different, just use different DSP for these. So there's my Biscoff ones. Let me get the other ones out again just to show what I've made there. Oh, get 3 or 4 out so you can see them. There we go. So as I say, these ones I've used up my DSP from the last catalogue. These ones I've used up the in colours that are going to be retiring soon, because I wanted to make the most of them because they're so beautiful. So another one here. I've got this lovely blue. What's that one called? One of them's Orchid Oasis, which is that one. Tahitian Tide. That's this one. That's right. So I've made quite a lot of these. I think nearly 50 of these and something like 30 of these. So I've got an awful lot of swaps to give out, and I should get swaps back, and then I'll be able to tell you all the news when I come back next week, and you can see what I've been doing. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed those projects, and I apologise I haven't got Facebook up. So if you have been commenting on Facebook, I apologise I can't see it just at the moment, although I can see the chat, and the Facebook chat does usually come up in here. So there we go. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you again next week at 2 o'clock, again on a Tuesday, and I've got another little project for you to show you then. See you then. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now.